So Battlefield Vietnam is going to have a mod that's going to add heaps of new things to the game next year, which just so happens to be next month. Oh my fucking god, where did time go? But the mod Operation Remembrance is going to add heaps of new content for this 17-year-old game. But before we get into that, I need to make you all aware of the fact that the US bots are going to be renamed after people who got the Medal of Honor, and the creator wants to make the Australian, because I'm actually so freaking happy, because if you remember my Battlefield Vietnam review, I said, hey, you got like 3 different US factions, but no Australia. And they've actually added in the ANZACS faction into the game, which is just phenomenal. And he wants to name the bots after Victoria Cross recipients, but there aren't enough names to fill in the slots, which is why he's asked me to ask you guys if you know anyone who fought in the Vietnam War, friend or family, and if you'd like to add their name, and I'll leave a link down to the post where you can submit their names and whether they made it back, and they will be added into the game. But alongside the addition of the ANZACS faction, we're going to get unique maps of real historical battles that were fought by the ANZACS, such as Long Tan and Operation Bribey. Weapons that we all love and possibly hate from Rising Storm to Vietnam will be, not even Rising Storm to Vietnam, just the Vietnam War in general, such as the L1A1, L2A1, and the F1, which I don't care what people say about Rising Storm to Vietnam, the F1 is an actual decent gun. Bro, fight me in the comments section on that, I don't care. But we also have the Lienfield and the M134 shotgun. I should also mention that the weapons in this mod are going to sound like they do in real life. Also, leave a like on the video. I don't have a whole lot in this life, and likes is literally all I have. But now we're going to talk about the class system, and it's going to be overhauled. There is just so much to cover, so I'll try and pinpoint the key bits just for you. But there will be an addition of an anti-air class for the NVA and the US Army that include carbines and SMGs, as well as the SA-7 for the NVA, which I'm pretty sure is already in the game. But the US will get the FIM-43 for the US. However, you will only get access to these if the map you're playing on is after 1968. However, the ARVN and NLF, or Viet Cong, whatever you want to call it, will not be getting these weaponry. The addition of an anti-tank class that gets SMGs and carbines, you get rocket launchers such as the US M72 Law, and the VC will get the RPG-18. Another nice thing is that if you remember, in the game, right, rockets and grenade launchers, tanks, they have a weird arch when you fire them, and it was like a cannon bolt. It was so weird. Thankfully, this mod rectifies that issue and they actually fire more straight. But there will also be the addition of recoilless rifles and anti-tank rifle grenade launchers. Another class called the Crew Served Weapon class will replace the support class, but also add a unique game mechanic where you can have a mortar and a placeable mounted machine gun. However, you can only use one at a time. The Engineer class, just like in Rising Storm to Vietnam, is very strong. Some people regard it as like the best class, but with this mod, it means you can only find this class hidden around the map, sort of like how you have like the unique and strong weapons hidden around Battlefield maps, and the same applies to this class. But a cool gameplay mechanic about this is that you can disarm mines without even being near them. You just got to sit 15 meters away from them, point your pliers at them, and you will detonate them. A flamethrower is being added to the game as a US only class, and they get the M2A17 flamethrower, and that I can't wait to use it, to be honest. I always felt like Battlefield Vietnam was lacking something. I'm like, it's the flamethrower. Obviously, I can't imagine it would have been easy to implement something like this back then, but man, I can't wait. The grenade launcher class will get a variety of launchers that include rifled grenades that can fire HE, smoke grenades. The M79 can be used to fire HE, as well as have a secondary SMG, or you can take buckshots instead. In addition to this, the M79 can fire smokes and flares. Weapons such as the M16 and XM177 will get underbarrel launchers, and they will either be the XM148 or M203 launchers. Now, honestly, these are just random naming things. Like, I can't picture what they look like in my head. But honestly, God, who the hell is naming these things? Like, XM148. What does that even mean? It's not like, it's not like a date or something. It's like someone smashed their face into a fucking typewriter. Like, they just had a late night at the office and they just face planted it and they couldn't think of a damn name for this thing. Like, oh yeah, this works. I know some people might be like, hey, it's because of this and that. Honestly, I'll do my research after the video, but Jesus Christ, when I first see this, it's like, why? However, the good thing is the launcher and the weapon itself will be two separate things, meaning you can use the ADS features with these guns without actually firing the grenade launcher. Like if you play Battlefield Vietnam, you know you can't ADS with the XM because it fires the grenade launcher instead. The medic class has a new feature added where instead of a med kit, there is sort of like this healing field of 15 meters where anyone in the distance of a medic will be healed slowly, okay? Slowly over time to prevent being overpowered, basically. But the funny thing is, if you pick up an enemy's medic class, you will heal the enemy, but the mod creator has said that they can't do anything about it. But I mean, come on, that's pretty freaking funny when you think about it. It's like they just capture fucking prisoners of war and they give them the medic class and they just act as like a freaking medic against their own will. I think that idea, that'll never happen in game, but I just think the idea of it is funny. There will be a VC exclusive class called the Spotter class, which acts similar to the grenade launcher class that the US get, but instead of a grenade launcher, they get a pair of binoculars that can actually call in a mortar strike. It's more powerful per shot, but you get less of them to use, which seems kind of fair. There is going to be an addition of lots of vehicles, as well as new gameplay mechanics to complement them. The F4 Phantom, which, yes, one day we will fly the F4 Phantom on resort, one day. But there will be over 5 different variants of the F4 Phantom, and there's also going to be a co-pilot seat added, with the addition of different types of rockets, as well as a flare system has been implemented to counter anyone on the ground using anti-air. An AC-47 can be flown, and it can do the rounds of an objective and just lay lead all over the enemy, and it will apparently have a high skill curve, but once mastered, it is very rewarding. There's also a scout vehicle, specifically the BRDM-1, and a person is holding a fuck, I don't know how to say this, the German people cringing right now, but this 43 rifle is added to the game because we know that a lot of German weapons were used during the Vietnam War, and that includes the addition of the MP40. But in my last Operation Remembrance video, I mentioned that there was going to be a ridiculous amount of M16 variants, and the only ones in the base game is the regular M16 as well as the one with the scope. But there are so many different M16s, I didn't even realize that there were like different M16s. Like I understand you could like slap a scope, slap a grenade launcher on it, but then like I'm looking at this picture here and I'm like, oh, that looks like a Car 15, but it looks a little bit different. Turns out it's a Model 607. I didn't even know this thing exists. Like it's a fucking M16 with dwarfism. I don't care what anyone says. Like that's what it looks like. We also have a Model 656 that has a unique scope. The XM177E2 has an M203 grenade launcher with a 3x scope slapped on top of there for the MACV faction, which admittingly I thought MACV stand for, I know what it stands for now, but please bear with me. I thought it stood for Military Armored Cavalry Vietnam. I'm so sorry. But we also have an M16 with a night vision scope and another with a silencer, which honestly gives me some CSS vibes, to be absolutely honest. If you want to see other Battlefield Vietnam videos, please check out the playlist on screen, but I do appreciate a lot if you watch to the end of the video. Honestly, people that watch the end of the video actually help the channel as well as the video out a lot. So honest to God, I really do appreciate if you watch this far into the video, but I'm going to end today's video there. I hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Tan2, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.